Right then, now when I look for a flat earth video to react to, I always look in the comment section of that video because quite often I can get just as much from the comments as I can from the video itself. And then every once in a while I come across a video like this with the comment section turned off. But does that deter me? No, of course it doesn't. It just makes me wonder why. So let's find out, shall we? Please subscribe.
I was looking at the sun and I thought, they say it takes 8 minutes for the light to get here from the sun because it's 93 million miles away. Now, for our sun to look like every other star in the sky, it would have to be
a lot further away. Did I get it right? If our sun looked like a tiny star, you'd need binoculars just to find daylight. Imagine trying to get a tan with the sun that's just a pinprick in the sky. And think of the sunsets. Instead of this glorious ball of fire dipping down below the horizon, we'd have the cosmic equivalent of a distant street light flickering out. How very romantic. In the end, it's probably best we leave the sun right where it is. It's doing a great job at lighting up our days and giving us something to complain about during the summer.
It takes 8 minutes for the light, they say, to get from the sun to us now. 8 minutes times 10,000 equals 55 days. So you're saying that our sun would look just like every other star if it was 55 light days away, when they teach us that all the stars we see are 3,000 light years away?
This is a very confusing video, but if our sun were 3,000 light years away, it wouldn't be just another star in the sky. It would be a very dim and distant memory. We'd be saying things like, oh, remember when we used to have the sun? Those were the days. And I'm going to be honest here, I have no clue what exactly it is you're trying to tell us. But think of it like this. If the sun were a nice medium-sized beach ball, some of those distant stars would be like ginormous exercise balls you find in a gym, making our sun look like a tiny twinkle by comparison. Is it too soon for the Father Ted clip yet? No, it's never too soon for that.
These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
Size, it matters.
But it seems like the more people look at this, the more that NASA's getting sensitive. You know, just the other day, that basketball player said that he thinks the Earth is flat, and miraculously 5 days after that, NASA says, we discovered 7 planets that have water on them just like Earth. Listen to us. Ignore that guy.
Tell me you think you're really important without saying you think you're really important. Why on earth would NASA give two craps about anything a group of online morons have got to say about the shape of the Earth? Do you really think they even care?
So, you know, they're changing their story. Or changing the way that they're presenting information now. They just shut off the ISS. Now they're going to sell it, they said, to some private company.
Where the hell are you getting your information from? Probably the same place you get your information from on the shape of the Earth, but I digress. I'm not sure if the ISS has exactly been turned off, as you put it, but SpaceX have just gotten the contract to decommission the ISS when it comes to the end of its life.
I was thinking about a lot of the things that we were taught. And believe me, this is the year I'm paying off my student loans. I'm finally paying off the student loans I've been packing around for almost a decade, some of which I used to finance astronomy classes.
Well, that was clearly money well spent, wasn't it?
I understand the official model quite well. So, you know, when people troll me after my video and say, you just don't understand anything, actually, I do.
Ah, so at least we know why the comments are turned off on your video then. It's because you don't want anybody being mean to you.
Our entire life, we were taught and shown pictures of, remember when they went to the moon in the Saturn rocket and they came back and they landed in the ocean, they splashed down in the capsule, the lander capsule, re-entry capsule, right? Every picture we've seen shows it boring through the atmosphere with the big, highest surface of resistance forwards. That doesn't make sense.
When you're hurtling back to Earth from space, you need to slow down from 25,000 miles per hour. Now, entering the atmosphere flat end first isn't just a quirky design choice, it's actually a lifesaver. The Saturn V command module entered flat end first because it's the smart, safe, and frankly, the only way to make a grand re-entry. The heat shield absorbs the insane temperatures, and the drag helps slow it down from 25,000 miles per hour, and the stability keeps everything stable. Go on then, explain to us stupid globers why it doesn't make sense to a flat earther.
Now, they teach us that, and we see all kinds of illustrations of that. And they even have one, I think, in the Smithsonian looking all burnt in like it came in that way when it re-entered, right? But if you throw a dart or a badminton birdie or a paper airplane out of a hot air balloon and you just let it fall, it's always going to fall point first because gravity, supposedly, is pulling it down, and the only other force acting on it is aerodynamics and wind resistance.
Interesting comparison, and I've got to be honest, that's the main reason I stopped looking through my telescope, because I was fed up of seeing paper aeroplanes, shuttlecocks and darts flying across the land.
And it's always going to fall oriented toward the least resistance. So bullets don't fly backwards, planes don't fly backwards. Why do ships have the point in the front? Because they cut through the water better, right?
Now, I don't want to overstate the obvious here, or do I want to make this an overly technical response, but you do realize that things do not behave the same here on Earth within our atmosphere as they do out there in space where there's no atmosphere.
And on the subject of gravity, you know, I've reconsidered that too. I heard, I think it was Dubé mentioned...
Ding, ding, ding! And there we go!
That gravity, you know, is actually just a teaching that is used to explain cosmological things and everything that we see with our own eyes on Earth, right? But in reality, buoyancy and density would explain all that.
Now, when flat earthers talk about buoyancy, do they mean the same buoyancy that we know and understand? You know, the buoyancy that absolutely wouldn't do anything without gravity.
But in reality, it does explain everything.
Yeah, must be a different kind of buoyancy, because the real buoyancy can't be explained without gravity.
If you take a C-130 and you open the back of it, and a truckload of stuff flies out of the back of it. You got bombs falling out of it like they do every day in the Middle East, right?
Flat earthers wonder why everyone hates them.
Blocks of wood, balloons, helium balloons, everything just flies out the back of it. The bombs fall straight to the ground. If they hit water, not only do they sink through the air till they hit something solid, they'll sink through the water till they hit something solid. Now, something that's lighter than water, a balloon or a block of wood, sinks through the air, hits the water, stops descending, and floats on top of the water. So somehow gravity is suspended when it hits the water.
If an object's density is greater than the density of the fluid it lands in, it'll sink. If it's less, it'll float. So for example, a bomb sinks in water because it's denser than the water, and a cork or a balloon, as you said, would float because it's less dense.
You know, they call you a conspiracy theorist if you suggest that they're not being honest with the things that they're showing us, right? NASA? Do you know where the term conspiracy theorist came from?
Well, I know where you were going to say it came from, the CIA, after the Kennedy assassination, and that it was used to discredit those who promoted ideas around that event. But in reality, the term conspiracy theorist first appeared in print in the late 1800s. It was used to describe a theory that explains an event or set of circumstances as the result of a secret plot by powerful conspirators.
That was a CIA term used in a memo called Countering Criticism of the Warren Report, which was the official report on how JFK got killed.
Yay me! And I didn't even need to look that up.
Was just thinking about a few things, and you know, don't let it get you down when people call you crazy, because they will.
Yeah, don't worry about it, because it's fine. If anybody calls you crazy, you can just turn off the comments on your video.
And there's a lot of little things you can point out just to make people think. For example, if you sit a stack of poker chips on the edge of a merry-go-round and you spin it, the poker chips fly off.
Right.
If you were actually hanging onto a rope and that thing was spinning fast enough, you would be swinging from the merry-go-round, wouldn't you?
Yes.
In fact, if you put a scale in that rope, it would tell you how heavily you were pulling against it, right? So you would actually have like centrifugal weight.
Yeah, I guess so.
So here's a question. If I weigh 250 pounds on the equator, well, it has to be the result of the balance between two forces. One, the centrifugal force, which is trying to fling me away because of my weight, so I would become a centrifugal weight. and gravity holding me down. Clearly gravity wins because I'm on the ground and I weigh 250 pounds. But gravity is supposed to be the same everywhere on a planet. So if the world stops spinning, would I weigh more?
Yeah, if the Earth stopped spinning, your weight would be the last of your worries, pal, and here's why.
Oh, yeah, that would be disastrous. Disastrous, because right now, here in New York, you can calculate at our latitude, we are all moving with the Earth at 800 miles an hour, due east, because Earth is rotating. If you stopped Earth and you weren't seat belt buckled to the Earth, you would fall over and roll 800 miles an hour due east. It would kill everyone on Earth.
Do you weigh the same on the equator as you do on the poles? You couldn't.
Well, then it's just as well that you don't, and it's because the Earth is a rotating sphere, and because of Earth's rotation, there's an outward force at the equator that does make you weigh slightly less, and this force is absent at the poles. So the answer to your question is no, you don't weigh the same at the equator as you do at the poles. Earth is slightly flattened at the poles and bulges at the equator, so you're closer to Earth's center when you're at one of the poles. So gravity is stronger there, making you weigh more.
There's a million things.
Brilliant. So are you going to try and get them all wrong?
Here's another one. So the other night, it was about, I don't know, it was probably close to midnight. I came outside, I looked up at the sky, and I see this super bright star. Actually, it wasn't a star, it was a planet. And I said, that's got to be like Saturn or Jupiter or something. It was pretty bright, and it was enormous, and you know. So I pulled out my phone, whoop, put it up there, and I looked at it, and what did it say? Venus. Okay, Venus is bright, right? And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, it's been dark for like 5 hours. So, you know, the sun was here at noon, it was there, it got dark at 7, now it's on the other side, and Venus is spinning around the sun inside of our circle, and I'm looking out into the dark. So how can I see a planet 5 hours after dark that is way closer to the sun than us when the sun is behind the Earth?
What? That is what we would call a stellar level of misunderstanding. Venus is visible after sunset because it's on the same side of the sky as the sun, just not directly behind of it. Think of it like a cosmic game of peekaboo. When Venus is at its greatest elongation, it's far enough from the sun's glare to be visible in our sky after sunset or before sunrise. So even though the sun has set, Venus is still shining brightly in the twilight. It's like when you see your neighbour's porch light on from across the street even after the sun's gone down. And I'm not even going to mention how far away these objects are. Well, another cosmic misunderstanding by a flat earther. Remember, the universe is a fascinating place and a little bit of science goes a long way in understanding it. But one too many videos from other flat earthers? Well, I think we all just saw what happens if that's your approach. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like so that YouTube knows it's worth sharing, and watch this video next. I'll see you in a couple of days. Love you, bye.
That's all, folks.